I've hit the button.
Is that what happens in America?
Let's talk about where Stewart is and what he's doing first.
He's in America, you know.
It's
the United
incredible.
States of
Have
the
you heard of America? Aye.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So,
yeah,
where are you, Stewart? You're in the US.
I'm in Detroit, south of Detroit, in a place called Troy. So I'm here, and we're doing some workshops with a client, and I'm here all week.
Oh, very
we
good.
Had our first day yesterday, went very well, and we've got another 2 sessions today, and then scope and chance for other things. So yeah, it's been good. They're a lovely client.
Have you told them any of your best jokes and stories?
No, not really.
What about Sean Connery? You done
nothing. I was like a bust ball. I just sat there and went, can everybody else do the talking? Thankfully, other people did. It was good. I just sat there going, I'm done. Now, weirdly, because we're doing this differently, I'm not doing a thing, so I'm going to do another thing. But listen, let's just start off by saying... Welcome to the Good Brand Podcast. Good, our agency based in the United Kingdom. Sometimes people go, oh, geez, sometimes I'm tired, man. I'm jet lagged. You're giving me jip. This is going to go on for ages. And we do brands for businesses with complex global problems, and that's why I'm in America. And this is why we talk to people. And it's weird not having the music underneath me, but I don't know, it'll be fine. But anyway, so yes, so today.
What are we talking about today?
We're going to talk about why I'm here.
So you are, so today we're talking about the reason, not the reason that you're there, but we're talking about the topic, which is why you're in the States.
Yes. The company we're working for, we're doing positioning and on some of their products. So we're doing that. And the interesting thing about positioning, and as a kind of definition of it, positioning is the answer to the question, how do I choose this over the alternatives? So from a customer's point of view, it's understanding, because when they're buying things, it's quite a difficult line, especially in B2B, which is there's consequences if you make the wrong mistake, if they make the wrong purchase. And so positioning helps companies help customers make the right decision. And
so
that's what
I've got a question straight away.
Go on, big man.
So my question, and it sounds interesting, I mean, we do talk about this a lot, but can you explain why this process of positioning is important from a brand perspective?
From a brand, I think it's just got to tie into the values of the business thing. That ultimately, so the positioning will give you the value. So basically, rather than features and benefits, it'll take it one way further into value. Mm-hmm. And then the way that then is articulated can be on websites, can be on sales presenters, it can be on trade shows, it should be used everywhere, and it can be used in brochures and everything else. And so what you get out of these things at the end, it needs a story around it. It's the beginning of a story around the product, and that story there at that point has to feel part of the brand. So what we do is we go around, we come up to the point, and what I'll do is essentially give a brief of the positioning of this is where we are, these are the value themes that we've got, and then we give it to the creative team, and then they interweave the brand story about innovation, depending on all the things, and then make it a coherent story that fits in with the business.
So it gets to value rather than just a list of features. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, if you go on a number of sites, it's just like features like it's easy to use. And I'm quoting you a lot, Chris, of that kind of thing. I can't remember exactly where and I'd misquote you a lot on it, but that kind of thing. What's the opposite of easy to use?
In fact, we touched on it when Ryan was on the podcast last month, Ryan Schultz from Stratasys, we talked about that particularly technology, engineering-led businesses fall so in love with the technology, they forget how a customer buys. And that list of features is... Even when you do set it alongside a competitive set, that's not necessarily, and this is something we're probably coming to talk about, that that's not necessarily how a customer is assessing their options and making a decision. And that kind of, the features war, we've seen it a lot in B2C and in B2B, haven't we, in terms of the long list of features that don't actually help a customer ultimately make a decision about product A over product B.
That point Stewart just made about the opposite point. Like, he's going to say that the opposite of being easy to use, no one's going to say this is difficult to use. And that resonated with me because Roger Martin, the strategist guy, the thinker, talked about that being a strategic choice, that if the opposite of the statement or feature isn't obvious, then, or if it is obvious, that you wouldn't say it, then it's not a
then
strategic
it's not
decision.
value. Yeah.
Because you're not really sacrificing anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's interesting.
And I was just going to say, because I think one of the things, and I think you wrote an article about this, Stewart, a number of months ago, but because we used, and it's just how our thinking has evolved around this and how I guess we've tightened up our own process of working through this with clients. And I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit, but we were, previously it's not just about talking about features, it's what's the benefit to the customer. And I think your point about, or the process that we go through with clients now is taking it beyond just those listing, it's beyond benefits into, like you say, defining what that differentiated value is, which I think I find that interesting because it's our thinking has evolved in that as well and matured in it.
Yeah,
give us an example, Stuart. Can you, for the listeners, can you give them an example of that? With that,
yeah, I mean,
because
basically, like you've got the kind of thing is it's got an all metal chassis. You go okay, and then the other, that's the feature, and the benefit of that is easy to maintain, and you go and they go okay, that's a benefit, but the value is no maintenance required for 25,000 hours.
Right.
So all you're doing is taking that feature and go, what does that mean? And then putting a value on it on monetary terms. How does this make me money or save me money? Is ultimately the value that
so
you're
it's
trying
pushing
to get.
it further than just stating what the
So you can do easy to use, and so you can go and the process. And it's a woman called April Dunford, and she's got a great process, and we totally nick it because it's great. And basically, she goes, when you say easy to use, the question is, so what? Interestingly, even at the dinner table, everybody last night was going, so what? And I'm going, yeah.
Yeah, well, you do this a lot, don't you? You push clients a lot and say,
well,
so
you
what,
do. You go, so what? It's easy.
And you've done it with us.
Ryan talked about this as well, because if you remember, he was talking about in the world of 3D printing, where it's this machine X over machine Y has a bigger build chamber, and so what? It means you can make bigger parts. Well, so what? It means that you operate your machine can run at 80% capacity or whatever the fact. But it's how do you drill that down into the actual what is the value ultimately that product is delivering to a customer that is ultimately going to solve their problem better than either another competitor product or what they're doing at the moment, which is something else you talk about in the article about the kind of real competition being the status quo, which I think is an important point.
Interestingly, when you say competition, people naturally go to the competitors, and that happened twice yesterday. So
clients
people came in.
Clients do.
Clients do. So basically, what clients do when you're going through the positioning, you're sitting there going, right, okay, let's talk about the competitive set, and they kind of go, and then actually people came in after we went through that exercise and went, there's no competitors here. And the point of the thing is that and as I said at the beginning of the kickoff, you guys are cursed with knowledge, and you have brought in the village idiot to challenge you at every possible because you know what the competition do. You know what their strengths and weaknesses are. We can't go out to the market and go, we're better than them. You just can't do that. So you've got to actually, you've got to put them to one side and understand that you're not being benchmarked against the competitive set. You're being benchmarked with the status quo. What have they already got and how can it be better? Because that's what everybody's fighting against. And if you can't give an answer to push people to the next stage,
it's quite often
show why you're the alternative. Yeah, that's why you're.
That's interesting you say that, Stuart, because I remember when we were talking about shifting ourselves to an all dancing piece of software for agency management, and the status quo was a spreadsheet, and I remember us having that conversation at that time. Maybe it wasn't fully formed into the thinking we have now, but that is actually what they're up against. Not other competition, spreadsheet.
No, they're not. It's interesting how the mindset goes to straight over with you, and even trying to explain it was tricky because they were late into the workshop, so they hadn't seen the bit where I explained it, but there was a bit of kind of going, but it's the competition, but it's not, it's what's already there. That's what, because that's what you're
consumer centric, consumer focused.
When you get this new thing in, they're not. That's what that person who's bought that is going to get judged on. What happened previously, and is this better? No, you should have went out to somebody else. That's always going, and it's quite a hard thing to get the head around. But I mean, as sessions go, I love them because I am terrified every time I go in because you just don't know. It's a strange dynamic because it's team sport, so you've got multidiscipline people and you've got sales, you've got product, you've got marketing, everything in there who have all got slightly different views. It does bring everybody together. You don't know how they're going to react to this. thankfully everybody gets quite into it quite quickly.
Do you find, Stuart, that those sessions, because it is, and you quote you back to yourself, product positioning is very much a team sport, and are those sessions generally a very collaborative, people engage, everyone's engaged, or does it descend into fucking madness at points?
No, not generally not. But what happens? I love them because what happens is things that everybody, the lies they told themselves, come quickly to the fore. So we did one where one of the benefits, and the sales team were going out, was saying like it's got a huge environmental impact, and then we all sat in a room, and then through the process, I went, none of you put environmental impact up here. Why is that? And then they kind of looked at it and they went, oh, it doesn't have an environmental impact. The sales team goes, it doesn't? I go, no, it goes, we've been saying it has. And I'm going, but you've not put it up the wall. And so suddenly you're getting this whole dynamic of going, no, and nobody's doing this to be rude or to lie. They're not doing it deliberately, but it's there. Anyway, Mr. Lumsden.
So I was just going to say, it's interesting. Why is there such a blind spot in a corporate space like that then about this? And why, if it's so important, because I was going to ask another question, what's the risk of not doing this? But why is it a blind spot? And why are we seen, or why is a brand consultancy, and are we credible in that space to walk them through that? That's a compound question. There's probably
so the first part of that question is, I think it's that thing where, as Julie mentioned earlier on, product teams love product. And so once you kind of get into it, it's just easy. Well, this is easy to use. This can offer you more choice. This can offer you... So what you've got is a list of features and benefits. So it's very internal focus and it's there. And the guys are proud of their product. It's then not taking that step further to go, what's the value? And I think these value conversations happen at the beginning of product. Then product takes a long time to gestate and come to life. And then it's forgotten and then it's just bottled because they're bored of it. And there's a bit of kind of thing where there's a bit of boredom about it because it's easy to use. Now, they already know the value. They've not started...
Yeah, they take it for granted.
The product. Yeah, that's exactly right. Why is a brand consultancy doing it? I think because we've built up a credibility in asking stupid questions through the brand process and challenging and sitting down and going, look, why are you doing it like this? So it's a natural extension for me when you look at product and the positioning. The same way as that we're positioning the brand about where you are and to help. It's a natural extension to do the same thing with product, with the same rigor, with the same intelligent naivety going in, right, okay, I know nothing about this and I'm going to be the customer. I'm going to go, and yesterday was great, there was a lot, but why? And is it not this? And why have you not put that up? It's interesting that you've not done that, because what I'm reading when I go on the website, this and this. Who are your customers?
I suppose,
are they...
yes, and I suppose it's because we are always looking to optimize things from a customer's perspective, and if that positioning is not clear and the value is not clear, you can thread it all the way back.
I think it does feel like Stuart said. I think it's very much a natural extension of the brand essentially, being able to define how your brand or product is sufficiently differentiated from what else is in the market to solve a customer's problem better. It's this, whether it's just, it is and quite often in the aspects of this stuff that I've been involved in and worked with Stuart, it does feel like very much a kind of natural next stage of the process, as it is with this client, because you've done the brand bit, we've asked those kind of pesky, challenging questions to get to the root of kind of the brand definition stuff and the brand platform stuff, and then into how does that start to then manifest itself when you take it into, not down a level, because I don't mean that, but into a sort of product space. No. The questions are essentially, they're not the same. The process is slightly different, but the questions are very similar.
And when it comes to what's the benefit of this, of the output? Is it a sense that there's a clearer understanding of how a portfolio hangs together, a product portfolio?
Not really. No, and it doesn't get into it. Doesn't. I mean, part of the challenge I've got.
It's not so much architecture, is it?
No, it's the challenge I've got today is we're going through a topic which I think is actually 3 topics. But we'll see how. But that's a good thing. I don't know how it's going to go. I think the benefit is if you make it easy for people to buy you and understand the value and understand how you fit within the competition. Like, we do this and this is the value that we bring to you. You're easier to buy because basically, if everybody else is saying easy to use, how is that helping you make a purchase? Because nobody's going to say, everybody's easy to use. Everybody can give you more options. Everybody's more innovative. It doesn't help you buy.
Right.
It should help. the process. And also what you then do is arm. So basically what you do, you work out your customers, who your best fit customers are, and then you'll come up with value themes. And some of those value themes will fit better with some customers than other customers. But then what you've got is a suite of 4 or 5 messages
that can inform campaign
activity and benefits.
Yeah,
and then yeah. So if we're going to go for that customer, these are the 3 things we want to tell them out of the bank of 5 things.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
And it means that it just means that you're hitting the same message repetition. You're not sitting there every time going, what are we going to say? And so you give that to sales teams. You can use that for marketing. There's a whole range of benefits.
I think, though, and to that point, really, it brings clarity and consistency and coherence in throughout all of those comms. But I think and again, having watched you go through the process, Stuart, I think it forced the kind of the distillation of the kind of the features stuff into that kind of, it forces simplicity in that kind of messaging, which, like you say, when it comes to then looking at it through a customer lens, that decision making processes. And I think the other thing I would say is that, and we actually with an old client, it was the conversations we used to have with Stratasys, actually, not necessarily going through this process of positioning, but the fact that they didn't do it actually was probably a challenge, because when you're trying to define, never mind the wider landscape and the other competitor offerings or what your customer's using at the moment, even being able to differentiate between your own product range, which is linked to your architecture of portfolios, it certainly is useful in highlighting, overlap and where that then causes confusion. Because if you as a client can't even clearly define why your product A is different to your product B, then what fucking chance has your customer got? Never mind when you then add in the wider competitor stuff.
I love your cursing in there, Jules. Love it.
I know, I've done it.
Don't you worry about it. And that's an important thing, because part of the competitive set when we go through it, and they don't like it, some clients bristle a little bit at it, is themselves. That's actually they go, you're actually competing against yourself, which then leads into that product architecture. Go, so I'm going to put you up here as a competitor, and they go, but we're not. I said, but you are, because I can choose that or that, and you're not making it easy for me to choose to understand. So I've got to go on a website, read 4 pages, and still you're not telling me who this is for. So
that's what I was
unfortunately,
hinting at.
Customers don't live in their little segment bubbles that we like to put them in, because it's not how.
So it's a useful exercise, and it's quite a cathartic process to get to a point to understand where the overlaps are potentially.
Yeah,
a means for a portfolio.
It's great because it's exciting. Clients love it because they talk about the business, because it's not just about there, it's about how you're going out to sell this and say it. And it was said yesterday, we're really enjoying it because we're talking about the business, it takes us out. It's also really scary. If I don't get a moment, and I'll tell the client at the beginning, I say, you will see my face when I don't know what to do. Because it's complicated, and it's, you can't, within a day you're trying to unpick maybe 10, 15 years of legacy and how they're doing things, and you're pulling it apart. And so it happened twice yesterday. I said, I don't know what to do. And they were all looking at me, and I'm looking behind me and going, I don't know who you're looking at, because we're going to have to work through this and everything else. And everybody gets on board. And, we came up with a really good solution to everything yesterday. The next stage is finessing it. We've got another 2 this week. So they're really good. And people can see the benefit pretty quick. The people that get a bit the most scared about it is sales teams, because they sit there and you go, feature benefit, and that's what they're used to doing. And then when you're then asking what the value is, they feel uncomfortable because A, they feel they should know the answer, and B, they don't have the answer because they've never been thought about it. Here's just features. Look, it's the product run through. Click and it'll do that, and look, there you go.
So it's like there's a
they
benefit.
do get into it though.
It sounds like there's a benefit of bringing everyone on the same page and facing the right direction.
And just even in one session, there was generic terms used for the categories within the organisation, and you find out pretty quickly that everyone's got a slightly different view on it. But if you've then got the head of product telling somebody that, and then you've got head of sales telling somebody that, that gap over time will be bigger and bigger.
Widens,
and so you're just bringing everybody together. This is what we're doing. So I love it. It's one of they're exciting, energising meetings. And yesterday we got in on Sunday afternoon. Kicked off at 9 o'clock yesterday morning, and I was energised all day. When we stopped, I was a burst ball. I was just but it was a great.
Again, as you say, you're getting deep. You're getting beyond the veneer of features, benefits, design. You're getting deep into
and really understand the
drivers.
Really talk about the customers and go, what makes these big customers big, and are these? Where's the opportunity? And just asking, and it's good for us. But Nikki, who's senior account manager, she was there, and that helps inform her on the business. So when later on we're going to be asked to do other things, we've got a much deeper knowledge. So it's great for us as well. There's no downside. There's no downside.
You're in America, so you can have any range of eggs for breakfast that you want.
Oh yeah, I can.
It's good then that we offer that as a distinct service in our position in terms of our offering and services. It's positioning as a discrete thing which we can offer either as an individual part or as part of a wider process about brand. Makes sense.
Well, there's a couple of clients where that's the door we've gone in. Yeah, that's a couple of clients where we've gone in through that door, haven't we? Where that's where the conversation's actually started.
And I love how clients love it. They go, this is good. And also it's helped them cut stuff away. Suddenly you go, we don't need this, or this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
The rush to get things happening.
Yeah, that's what strikes me about this conversation, is what it brings is a sharpness, a clarity, a focus that's useful for all teams, including marketing and comms, it's sales, operation, everything. It provides that sort of sense of focus, which is really important. Because I guess the risk of not doing it is you just live in this world of features and benefits.
You're the same as everybody. You make it harder to buy. Customers, because you pointed out, I think customers buy solutions. And you've got to kind of show that you're the solution to the problem, not just easy to use. And if you can demonstrate that, through value, that this will make you money, save you money, by choosing that, then you're automatically elevating yourself in the conversation.
And I guess in your view, Stuart, then, is it more important in a B2B space where it's a complex purchase rather than a...
Definitely.
Yeah, a low involvement B2C.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely, it's a longer, more complicated. Reputations are at risk. And so what you've got to do, you're training customers to make the right decision. You're not selling to them. That's
although
the kind of thing
it is very important in the B2B space because of probably, like you say, the percent or the value and the complexity of the decision making. However, I was trying to buy a tumble dryer yesterday, and that as a category could do with a little bit of product positioning, because I was like, I basically just got bored and picked one that I wanted was around about my price point. I even got bored reading the features.
Yeah,
it's a terribly positioned marketplace.
Well, that sector's quite bad for white goods, isn't it? It seems to be feature.
I just went for a big one, a big white one. That was from a brand that I recognised.
Well, that's the other point. The brand you recognise.
That's where brand plays, isn't it? That's where brand does, because it is. That's ultimately what that is the. And we talked about this way back in the day with Honeywell, pre even the Residio spin-off, when we were working on some of the smart thermostat tech launches on the consumer side of things, and in that space, in the smart home space where it was full of gimmickry at the time. This is going back probably 5, 6, 7 years even maybe. I remember we had the conversation with Honeywell there to say you've got brand is literally the only differentiator in this space because all the technology is doing the same stuff. Everyone has pretty much the same feature set as far as your customer is concerned. So how do you use brand? How do you use your brand to be the sort of defining or the differentiating factor when customers are making them?
And again, Chris asked the question yesterday about that. Does positioning help even if there's a big brand player in there? So if you're up against IBM, does positioning help? And it absolutely does help, because if you can be clearer on your position, like why choose us against the alternative? So if the alternative is this, it's going to be easier to be IBM because it's going to be the safe choice, at least you're escalating your positioning to be, we're a safe choice too, because and so it might not overcome the brand there, but it certainly will put you higher in contention rather than just a load of features and benefits. It will. This is why you should choose us over IBM.
Puts you in the right territory.
Yeah. It's there.
It's like you're spending your time in America, Stuart, very wisely.
I am. And I had a steak last night.
Did you? That's not like you.
I know. So we went to a steakhouse. It felt rude. Felt rude not to. It was the size of my head, so it was there. So I've still got half of it for breakfast.
Right, it was nice to see you all.
Right, yeah. Okay, I'm hitting the button. Cheerio.
Bye.